Because the real question is this: can offices find the middle ground where honesty doesn't look like oversharing, discipline doesn't feel like control, where human beings and being human is at the center? It's not seen as weakness, it's just normal. That's how you're going to be looked at when you join your workplace. So let's take that conversation forward. First up, joining us is Jasveer Singh, co-founder and CEO of Not Dating, the boss who approved that now famous breakup leave and unintentionally set off this national debate. Jasveer, good morning. Thank you for being with us here on the Breakfast Club. Jasveer, first up, tell us what really happened.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Tell us what happened. This whole conversation is out there on the internet, being spoken of, being shared. A lot of reactions coming in and mixed reactions at that. What really was the story here? Take us all the way back.
So I think, so for us, this was not something very, you can say, surprising, because in any which way in our organization, so the average age is like 22 or 23. So mostly GenZ is working, right? And what I noticed is they don't have like any kind of fears. So we have like a culture to talk about any kind of stuff because we are running a dating apps. So we had like a conversation mostly like relationship, all these stuff is very common for us. It's not something like, anyone feel uncomfortable about all these, conversations. So first thing that I noticed, like for us, it was not like very, you can say surprising, so-called that you got a breakup mail and then you basically you approve the leave. For us was like, okay, it's okay, it's
That's
not
the
a big
work
deal
culture you're maintaining. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Jasveer?
so yeah, that we were not surprised by the way, like when I shared online, and then I got to know like, okay, this is like a big deal that people are talking about good things, bad things, Gen Z, millennial, XYZ, like thousands of things that people are talking about. But for us, it was not something like which was like very surprising.
Did
We
you
said,
have to
okay,
at
it's
any
okay.
point give in to some sort of pressure? Does it come across as pressure, especially because you own a dating app, because you're working on this whole concept, not taking a breakup? Well, did that decision come from any pressure that you felt in that moment?
Not really, not really. It's not about because think about it. Humans don't have two brains, right? If somebody is going through something like bad in their life, and you are constantly thinking the workplace they go and they simultaneously they're going to change their brain. That's not going to happen, right? They have the same brain is going to dealing with the breakup and the work, right? So if somebody is not able to focus on a work, and this is going to reflect in a work also, right? If like something is personally they have not going through. So your question is basically that we were like, because we are running a dating app, because of that we are giving living? No. So we
No, because there
have,
are a lot of comments. A lot of people have come in for praises.
Yeah.
They've said that this model needs to be copied pan-India, across work cultures, no matter how small or big your team is. But there are those who've also said that this perfectly fits well for a dating app. The virality of it is what is being spoken of, and then they're coming in with a little bit of criticism. What is your message to all of them?
I know. Like whenever you say something that there is a whole army to talk about, like online. So people will say that okay, this might be a planned or stuff like that. There was nothing as such like
Okay.
You can't plan such kind of stuff like where you plan and one day you wake up and you get like a 15 million views on Twitter. That's not practically possible. If this is possible, then like everyone can do such kind of stuff, and then every single day they'll become a news. No, that's not the reality. But the reality was that there was a genuine mail, and then people basically we were aware, like if you read the mail line to line, the person who said that today I'm not coming to office. That means this is something serious, na? Because if the person is saying today I'm not coming to office and I need leave at least from like 5 to 7 days or 10 days. I immediately thought, okay, you don't need to come office. You first take break and come out of it, because I strongly believe, by the way, like because we are running a
What if
dating
you
app also.
had an immediate deadline that you had to meet, that this person was crucial to, he was playing a crucial part in meeting that deadline? What would you do in that situation?
So in that case, like maybe we can say in that time, like, okay, you can take a 1 or 2 hours in a day just for a focus in a certain immediate time. But I'm not the one who is going to say like, okay, you just need to focus like an entire day. That's not going to happen. Like
So you
we don't.
would accommodate their well-being no matter what, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Jaspreet,
yeah.
before we let you go, I have one very important question for you. Now you're leading a team of 27 people. Do
Right.
you think being this emotionally understanding as a team leader is also possible when one is leading a team of, let's say, 100, 200, more than that? Do you think it's practical?
Oh, this no, it's nothing to do with the like 20, 30, 100, 200 or 2000. Like it can replicate it anywhere. And let me tell you one more thing. Like this might be surprising for you. So you can't put pressure to somebody's in today's era, like saying that you have to, if somebody is, applying for a leave and you're saying that I can't approve, they'll not work. They'll leave. Because see, what's happening right now is things are changing in a very different pace. For example, if you go to our parents' generation or grandparents' generation, that people are working like on an average like 10 years or 15 years in a one company. And then the MNC and basically the IT boom, and then you see that 5 to 7 years, and see today like average working maybe like 3 to 4 year maximum. And so that time is going to reduce over the period of time. Maybe like maybe in after like 2 to 3 decades, we might be debating if there is a full-time job exists or not, because maybe the culture moved to completely on a freelancing and all. Because ultimately, you can't put pressure on somebody's to because you are a boss or you are a manager. So that culture has gone now. Like if a company is not adopting, let me tell you very clearly,
Are you
they will
saying
lose out the great talent.
you're not in a position as a leader anymore to dictate terms or
No.
to put conditions on your team members?
No, you can put a conditions, but you cannot put a condition in a such a way where you're saying I can't approve because
Okay.
previously my boss is not given me a leave, so that I'm not going to give you.
Okay.
So the culture is not going to work like millennial is not giving to Gen Z को भी नहीं मिलेगा, तो वो नहीं होगा. That's not going to work. I'm sure.
Okay, every generation comes with its own understanding of how they want to, embrace the work culture. They want to keep up with it. They want some changes to it, and that's perhaps what's happening here as well. Thank you so much, Jaspreet, for sharing your story and telling us all about what we're seeing on the internet for the last so many days. We want to take this conversation forward, zoom out a little bit. Joining us this morning is also Aparna Jain, Executive Leadership Coach and founder of Zebra Works, alongside Rajneesh Singh, CEO of Simply HR. Good morning to the both of you. Thank you so much for being with us. Aparna, I want to begin with you. You've heard that conversation. Now you know a little bit of a background to what's really happened here. Your thoughts, do you then think traditional Indian workplaces, which have people in thousands working for them, can truly normalize these conversations around emotions, around vulnerability, so on and so forth?
Morning, Crispin. Thank you for having me. I was listening to Jasbir, and it's so sweet because he's so idealistic and he's young and he's, full of these, I want to make this perfect workplace. But there were certain things that he said which really struck me. One was, if you don't accommodate these people, they will leave. And that is the truth about young companies, right? So when I work with young companies, I know this is it. People leave for 500 rupees a month. People leave for 1,000 rupees a month, right? People leave because they're just not feeling it, So all these reasons, they use language which we are not used to hearing, right? So for example, I saw somebody's Instagram story yesterday where she was interviewing somebody and she said, why did you leave your earlier company? And she said, the person said it was not my vibe.
Yeah.
All right. And she was like, I can't believe people are using this kind of language. But it's just the language that has changed. In perhaps in my generation, we would have said, oh, it didn't suit me, or, the culture was not appropriate. We would just use formal language to say the same thing. But I think the thing with young companies is that they can't hire easily. People will not come to a young company because they're worried about their future. When they come to the young company has to retain them. So they will do a lot more to keep people. When you go to a company which has 30,000 employees, it's impossible to have the same kind of emotional affinity with employees. It's just impossible. Also, when you interview people and you say, what are you great at? All employees say, we're very committed. We will do whatever it requires. We are committed to the passion and the vision of this company. And then suddenly they're having all these issues, all right, which they never talk about. So in a larger company where they hold the power and they can get number of employees to come and work for them, I don't think this will play out. Is there a need for empathy in the workplace? 100%. Is this scalable? Never.
Rajeshji, who would have thought, right? There was a time that you could not even think of writing a mail to your boss saying that I've had a breakup and I need some time off. Apart from, let's say, emergency situations, including a health problem or, a death in the family, none of these reasons were acceptable. One would not even think of it at any point in time that you can reach a place of even gathering the strength to write a mail like this to your boss. What do you think has changed overall? And do you think this is also being seen in older companies, for instance, a strength of, let's say, 20, 30,000? Do you think this model, if not is happening right now, can happen in a few years from now?
Thank you for having me. I was listening to Jasveer and also Aparna, and I think both of them made their own, they took sides in a way on the whole matter. And naturally, me coming from a different generation completely, this is definitely news to people like us. But I do recall a company like N18G, which about 2 decades ago had introduced something called a dating allowance. And so there was some kind of a build-up that was happening, if you may really ask me. This is pretty interesting. It definitely reflects the shift that is happening at the workplace. And largely from a generation which is quite upfront, which is quite forthcoming. They can be quite demanding. My sense of the situation is that because it's a small company, I'm assuming this resource of Jasveer could be a very critical resource, and that's why probably he just kind of accepted. And I was reading it's a leave for almost 10 days, right? Now 10 days leave is unthinkable, honestly. I mean, people are going to ask you 20 questions. I mean, how have you really decided that in 10 days time you will be emotionally fine? So that itself is a very tricky factor. And I fully agree with Aparna that, can it be scaled? Larger businesses, can they do this? It's really up for a debate because it can set precedent. Jasveer tomorrow can be flooded by another 5 such requests.
Yeah.
And I'm sure because it's become such a news, I'm sure in his firm.
So that's still manageable if he's leading a team of 27. What do you do when you're leading a team of, let's say, 40, 50, 100? Absolutely. How many people and their emotional needs are you going to give into? And how are you then assured of the fact that you're not going to be facing allegations of favoritism? Because how do you pick right from wrong? So as a leader, how do you deal with that challenge, sir?
Yeah, so that's why it is very, very critical. Look, any leave application historically, I mean, I see this as a very impulsive decision on part of the founder, whether he was, and like he said, he didn't know that this will blow up. But because it is blown up now, but I don't think this is a prescription for leaders to be following, honestly. You got to be still very judicious. Yeah, of course, you got to be mindful. There's a lot of talk about mindfulness, being sensitive. I think those are the messages people like us are being given, that if you got to handle this lot, this is the way to approach them, But you also can't be going just overboard. You got to be mindful what the other 25 people in the team are going to take this decision as. What is it, End of the day, I believe that organizations do run in a slightly structured manner. Not that you make it very watertight. I think gone are those days where probably we would have been in an era where policies were there for almost 10 years, 15 years. You wouldn't even touch any policy. But I think today's time, of course, you got to be super dynamic, very flexible. You got to be moving with the times. This would definitely trigger discussions, but will it really make major shifts at the workplace? I doubt it very much. People are going to take it in a very, very measured manner. And really,
how do you strike that balance between being empathetical and also ensuring performance? I think that's the biggest challenge for any leader, for anyone who's dealing with this younger generation. Aparna, you've spoken vocally about women's rights at workplace. What does these kind of stories do to your mind? Somebody who's seen women fight for their rights, ask for leaves and for very legitimate reasons. And to an extent that may have not been allowed. And then you have this whole generation, come forth with this demand and you're not left with an option. What do you think the Gen Z are doing or bringing to the table that is putting them in this position?
So I think, to begin with, I think women have always had mental health issues in terms of the emotional burden they face, okay? They always have had two jobs. One is at home, one is at work. Even during COVID, we know for a fact, so many companies reported back that when it came to remote working, women wanted to come back to the workplace because when they were at home, they were not considered serious workers. So they were still called to help in the kitchen. They were still called for, childcare. They were still called for elder care. And I think that women, whenever they have asked for leave in the workplace, like I have to go because my in-law is sick and I have to go, bosses are always like raising their eyebrows, right? I'll tell you a really interesting story that, I know somebody who went to their boss for period leave because she was having a bad time. And I also know that there are many women who say that there's no such thing as period leave. I've had periods all my life and I've never had these issues, but not every body is the same, and I think we need to recognize that. So there are some women who have very severe aches, so she wanted to take time off and go home, and her boss made a face and kind of like mumbled under his breath and went out of the office and said things to the team. And then of course came Karwa Chauth and everybody wanted to go home early for Karwa Chauth, and the boss was more than happy. Oh yes, please go, because it's such a patriarchal mindset that anything that is great for the man is great for the workplace. All right, so I was really annoyed that they weren't able to see it from a woman's lens. I think what Gen Z is doing is that they're making mental health legitimate, and I think it's being taken into seriousness only because men are part of the conversation. And I think that's what it's doing. The minute men are part of the conversation and they're feeling emotional stress and they're feeling mental health pressure, then suddenly all mental health is taken seriously. For years, women have been talking about it. We've never been taken seriously. So when it becomes mainstream is when men get involved in it.
Do you believe, Aparna, then corporate policies need to evolve to accommodate emotional well-being, mental health, all of these issues, and sooner or later this will have to be done, and it will have to be done at a policy level?
And there are lots of companies that are doing it at a policy level, all right? But for example, I think lots of people are offering counseling. They have a panel of psychologists, counselors, etc. that people can reach out to. They are offering mental health breaks. But the thing is, as you scale up and as you become a 30,000, 50,000, 2 lakh company, a big company like that, what are you going to give leave for? Are you going to give leave for breakups? Never. I can tell you it will never happen in a large company. Okay? Will you give leave for, like, for example, elder care? Yes, you should. Maternity, of course you should. Having a bad health day, yes. If you're having a really bad time dealing with something at work or dealing with something at home, yes. I mean, I know a boss who's, we had a colleague whose mother-in-law died and she went for 3 days, and on the 4th day, my boss said, well, the mother-in-law is dead, just tell her to come back to work now. That absolute lack of empathy, right? You don't know what's going on in that person's house. Will companies do something about it? Yes, many companies already are. Will they be able to replicate what Jasbir has done? Absolutely not. It's not even thinkable. Like, you cannot even imagine 10 days leave for a breakup. I'll have 6 breakups a year. What's going to happen then? Am I supposed to learn from every breakup and take 1 day less? It doesn't work like that.
And I think social media posts, virality kind of adds to the pressure, kind of adds to the problem. Like we've been discussing, every time your boss says no, you think you are right in posting that on social media, garnering responses, putting that extra pressure on your boss. Rajneesh, how do you then cope with all this social media burden as a leader that you're going to have to face going forward?
Yeah, I mean, look, social media is a double-edged sword, right? It can hit you both ways. I mean, it can definitely bring you instant fame, like it has in this whole case, and it's become such a popular thing to be discussed. But at the same time, it can also burn you in so many ways. I do know a lot of, especially again, young startup founders at times have fumbled in handling certain situations at work, and which have literally exploded on social media. So it is definitely in the times that we live in, again, for the leadership, it's very, very critical. What you do, what you say, I think all that becomes very, very important as to how it is being seen by the team members in the organization. And so when you do decide something and then you are actually wanting to put it up on social media, I think one should be definitely thinking twice, thrice, and really, think it as much as possible that what could be the repercussions. I think that again comes from the whole factor of being mindful.
But like Jasveer said, people are not afraid anymore of losing their jobs. So how do you threaten them even further? How do you take this forward? How do you tell them, step down your game, this is not cool, it's not going to work out for you, it's in fact going to have severe consequences? That's the challenge that comes with dealing with this generation. What I'm going to do is, interestingly, ask our producer to pull out a few screenshots, incidents that have gone viral on social media, and try and take in a word from Aparna and Rajneesh on what they make of it. This is a screenshot that you see on your screens on how an employee has been asked, why have you logged off before 6:30? So 6:30 was the log off time. You logged off before 6:30 and you're being questioned by your boss. The reply is, it's just 4 minutes, Namrata, I'm done with my tasks for the day. So that's the reaction that's coming from, let's say, the Gen Z in this case, is my assumption. You cannot do things as you like even if you're done with your task. Your shift ends at 6:30 a.m. There were others as well who finished their task, but all of them logged out when their shift ended. Aparna, your thoughts here. Do you think we need to move away from these hell-bent rules of your log-in, log-out times, being very, very strict? You have to clock in those hours no matter what. It really doesn't come down to whether or not you've met your target before your shift comes to an end.
100%. I think these kinds of messages are silly. Okay, this is just control. I am the boss, you are the employee, and therefore you have to do what I say. This is rubbish. Okay, this burning the midnight oil is rubbish. All this is rubbish. You can do a job in 4 hours, do it and be done with it. You're meeting your targets, do it and be done with it. All this you have to see, you have to sit in front of me, I have to see you working is rubbish. So you will always have the employees, like we've seen those horrible videos of bank managers screaming on Zoom calls at employees, telling them that they haven't reached their target. They're all bursting blood vessels, etc. I can understand the pressure on them, but at the same time, I don't think you can, as a good leader, you will never pass this on to your team. You will take the pressure, reflect on what you've done badly. This is rubbish, this is control, this is a really bad leader who's writing this.
Okay. Rajneesh, we've also seen, and this I'm sure all of us must have seen happen sometime or the other in our careers, wherein you've been asked for proof of not keeping well. And that's another conversation that we'll just pull up, wherein the boss is asking for reasons, is asking for proof. A health certificate, for instance, which is okay to the extent that you need to submit your health certificate in case of a long leave. But if you fall sick on one fine day, if you're being asked for a proof in terms of a thermometer picture or more, do you think that's ridiculous or acceptable?
Yeah, so traditionally, again, having managed HR for so many organizations for so many years and now working with so many clients of ours, these leaves definitely had a method behind it. When somebody thought about it, that, beyond 2 days of leave, you've got to submit a certificate. Somebody has died in your family. I mean, if there is a very long extended request for a bereavement leave, for example, needed to be supported with whatever, a prayers meet post or whatever it is, just to support that request that was there. Even when I mentioned about the dating allowance, which NIIT brought in, there was a limit that people could spend. They had to submit the bill. So it was not an open kind of just a system out there, So it does. So now come to this case now. What can Jasveer ask for as an evidence or a proof that, there actually has been a breakup, and then, I'm going to sort it out in just about 10 days time. Just give me this break. I'm going up in the hills and I'll get my head right. And that's why, in such matters, it will be very difficult, honestly, to really put a finger as to how many days and how does one decide And that's why I'm again repeating, I would call this decision a very impulsive decision, and perhaps this resource it was very critical to Jasveer. Otherwise, I don't think anybody could be really giving such a leave just like that. And of course, such requests without any proper support, how do you really justify it?
Yeah. Okay, Aparna, we're going to cut the clutter and then wrap up this conversation. How do you think leaders of the day can then draw a line between empathy and accountability? So when do you give in? When do you draw the line? What are your thoughts there? Because this is one challenge every leader in current times is dealing with or is going to have to deal with sooner or later.
Look, there's no doubt empathy is important in the workplace. Things you can do to practice that is look people in the eye, ask them how they are, mean it as to how they are. But I do believe that is again not scalable. Supposing I really talk to you, or you're in my particular head office or whatever it is, and you're not an employee in another office, I'm speaking to you. I may be more empathetic towards you. I may listen to you a lot more. At the end of the day, humans are not infallible. We make mistakes. We are going to bring our biases in. We are going to, give leave to people we like and not give leave to people we don't like. There has to be a much more automated system for this. Trust is a very important thing. How do you build a culture of trust? So it's very tough. It's tough to scale up. It's a human emotion. AI is going to take over a lot of these jobs, and that's something on which we have to really focus on. Can AI actually manage how people take leave? What is it? Does it make sense? I'm sure at a certain point we can automate it to such an extent that they'll be able to do that.
Okay.
Do workplaces need to be more empathetic? Yes. Can it be scaled? I don't know.
Okay, very interesting. Rajeshni, lastly, to you, what do you think needs to be done? How do you propose these changes happen? The one thing which we've heard of when the work-life balance conversation happens is that India has not been able to do well in this one aspect. Do you think that's changing, and how much more needs to be done to bring in that kind of correct balance?
So I would look at it in two ways. One is that you are working in a very structured organization, and so therefore there is a log-in, log-out, and so we know when I come in, when I go out, which was the discussion which was happening earlier. But let us also understand that there could be situations, and the way we are perhaps growing at a very rapid pace, there could be requests at times from the management, from the leadership, that you've got to stretch a bit. The caveat being that such requests shouldn't become a habit, shouldn't become a regular thing. That is when the burnout starts happening for the employees. So the communication and not making it a habit is something that needs to be brought in a very clear manner. And that is where I think employees then really stretch when it is required to be stretched. They will work on the weekends also, right? I mean, we know such organizations where it is all about ownership. Jasveer's company, for example, just about such a small company, I'm sure they all love their company. They love Jasveer, they'll stretch out, they'll go beyond 10 p.m. and whatever. The key is that, and that is where you stitch up the beauty of empathy and accountability. It's about the way you really build the whole organization, and which is what Aparna touched about. The critical point is the kind of culture that you're bringing in, and culture definitely starts from the top. Your way of leading matters. So how you conduct yourself, how you yourself work. Do you yourself stretch, or you're partying and the team is slogging? There is a disconnect then there. Okay. So I think if accountability and empathy they can go hand in hand, and it boils down to the individual how he or she wants to do that.
Okay, we'll leave this conversation then on that very positive note. I hope all team leaders and all bosses are watching the Breakfast Club this morning. Thank you so much, Rajesh, Aparna, for joining us, for sharing those wonderful thoughts, and for really decoding this changing phenomena for us. We head into a very short break with that. Coming up next, we move on to our person of interest, acclaimed Sindhi filmmaker Devesh. He's been making waves with his storytelling, his cultural perspective. What next for him in terms of his project, in terms of Sindhi cinema? We'll be going across to him in just a bit.
MDH का किचन किंग।
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
In the Women's Cricket World Cup.
Joining us now is the woman of the moment, the player of the final of the 2025 ICC Women's World Cup and truly Destiny's Child. Shefali Verma is joining us. Shefali, thanks a lot for your time. Let me begin by asking you, how does it feel to be a world champion?
Absolutely, happiest moment for all of us.
But this is truly destiny for you because आप ये वर्ल्ड कप स्क्वाड का पार्ट भी नहीं थे, आपको सेमीफाइनल से पहले स्क्वाड में ऐड किया गया और फिर आप फाइनल में प्लेयर ऑफ द मैच रहे. तो एक तरह से ये जो पूरा एक आपका जो फेट था, जो डेस्टिनी है, वो पूरी हुई.
Yes, thanks to God मुझे उन्होंने यहाँ भेजा and thanks to all of them, my family member, everyone, JSW. एंड जिसने भी सपोर्ट किया इस मूवमेंट में, क्योंकि मेरा फ्रेंड सर्कल इतना अच्छा है, उन्होंने मेरे को इतना सपोर्ट दिखाया. आई थिंक वो सपोर्ट एंड भगवान ने मुझे यहाँ भेजा एंड देन टीममेट्स ने भी बहुत अच्छा सपोर्ट किया. दे आर वेरी वेलकमिंग, दे आर वेरी सपोर्टिव. तो आई थिंक सबकी वजह से मैंने रन किया और हम जीते.
बट जब आपको वो कॉल आया barely 2-3 days बिफोर द सेमीफाइनल, तो तब आपके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा था? क्योंकि बहुत बड़ा स्टेज है ये सेमीफाइनल में बुलाना और सेमीफाइनल भी ऑस्ट्रेलिया के खिलाफ था.
बहुत अच्छा लगा जब कॉल आया एंड मैं उस टाइम में डोमेस्टिक खेल रही थी, तो क्रिकेट के टच में तो थी, मैं मैचेस भी खेल रही थी. एंड उसके बाद मुझे यही था कि मुझे बुलाया है, इस चीज मुझे खरा उतरना. उन्होंने मुझ पे कॉन्फिडेंस दिखाया, टीममेट्स ने एंड कोच कैप्टन जितने पूरे स्टाफ ने मुझ पे बिलीव दिखाया, मुझे बुलाया है. तो मैंने यही कोशिश की कितनी जल्दी मैं चीजों को ग्रैब करूं और कितनी चीजों को एक्सेप्ट करूं, सिंपल रखूं और अब काम रहूं, अपने आप पे बिलीव रखूं. तो आई थिंक उसके बाद मेरे प्रैक्टिस सेशन भी थे, मैंने उस पर ज्यादा वर्क किया. नेट सेशन में मैंने ज्यादा प्रैक्टिस की. तो आई थिंक ये सब चीजें जाके एक्सेप्ट करना और चीजों में यूज टू होना काफी डिफिकल्ट था. बट आई थिंक अगेन प्लेयर्स ने बहुत सपोर्ट किया एंड बहुत अच्छी प्रैक्टिस की मैंने उस टाइम पे. तो आई थिंक बहुत अच्छा रहा सब.
But how did you feel when you weren't picked for the squad, when there were questions on your performances? उस वक्त का जो जो टाइम था वो कैसा रहा आपके लिए?
वेल एब्सोल्युटली, ये एज अ प्लेयर के लिए बहुत टफ रहता है क्योंकि जब टीम से बाहर होते हो एंड आपको अपना बिलीव रखना, इट्स नॉट अ सिंपल थिंग. बट आई थिंक ये सब चीजें मैंने एक्सेप्ट की जब मैं टीम से बाहर हुई थी और मैंने सब चीजों को एक्सेप्ट करके आगे बढ़ी. और मैं ये सोच रही थी कि मैं इस टाइम पे अपने आप पे क्या काम कर सकती हूँ, और उस टाइम पे मैंने अपने आप पे बहुत वर्क किया और सभी ने मुझे बहुत हेल्प किया.
But were you upset? Did you feel it was unfair that you were not part of the World Cup team?
Welcome back. India's aviation regulator wants to make air travel a little less painful for passengers going forward. The DGC has proposed new refund rules that could finally give flyers a breather. Passengers may soon get a 48-hour window to cancel or change tickets without paying a penalty. Only the fare difference will apply if you switch to a costlier flight. The rule works only if your flight is at least 5 days away for domestic travel and 15 days for international. The idea is to make refunds faster, fairer and more transparent. This 48-hour window is meant to fix booking mistakes without penalty. It won't apply if you book too close to departure though. Once the window closes, regular cancellation fees return. It's India's version of a global cooling off system for travelers. There's also a fix for spelling mistakes on tickets. If you book directly through an airline's website, you can correct the name within 24 hours. No penalty, no admin charge, just a quick correction. But this doesn't apply to tickets booked through agents or through portals. So the DGCA wants refunds to be simpler and faster. Airlines will now be responsible for refunds, even if you book through an agent. Credit card refunds should be completed in about a week. Bookings via agents must be cleared within 3 weeks. Of course, the real test will be how quickly airlines actually process the money. For passengers who can't travel due to medical reasons, there's also some relief. Airlines will have to offer either a full refund or a credit shell that can be used later. They may ask for valid medical proof, but it means genuine cases will not lose the full fare going forward. That's a massive relief for air passengers. The new rules also target hidden fees. So airlines will have to display all cancellation charges up front. You'll know exactly how much is being deducted before you cancel. Taxes, fees on unused tickets must be fully refunded no matter what. Low-cost carriers may, though, have slightly different structures subject to DGCA review. But refunds themselves will be tightly monitored. No more waiting months to get your money back. The DGCA plans strict timelines for both the airlines and travel agents, and missing those deadlines could invite regulatory action. For passengers as well, this, remember, is long overdue. Indian flyers lose crores every year to cancellation penalties and delayed refunds. These new rules then aim to end the surprises, end the deductions and the endless waiting. The DGCA wants to make air travel a little fairer and finally put passengers first. All right, with that, we shift our focus to our person of interest joining this morning. Sindhi cinema isn't something you usually hear about in a multiplex conversation, but that's exactly what one young filmmaker from Ulhasnagar set out to change. Devesh Nenani and his team of 20 long time back decided that their language and their stories must be spoken of. It deserved a big screen moment too. Their film, Byocha Khape, reminded people that culture doesn't fade when someone fights to keep it alive. With borrowed wardrobes, small budgets and endless energy, they gave Sindhi cinema a reason to dream again. And that spirit, equal parts hustle and heart, is what's got everyone's attention. So we will be going across to Devesh to really talk about the story. The man behind Byocha Khape, filmmaker Devesh Nenani, is with us on the Breakfast Club. Good morning, Devesh. Hope you're doing well. First up, tell us all about Byocha Khape. What has the journey been like? And most importantly, as a filmmaker, how was it to watch the first response when the film hit the screens?
Okay, so after working for an year, 365 days, we finally released our film Byocha Khape into the theater, and everyone's eyes were on screen, and they were enjoying, or maybe they were crying, or every emotion they were showing, but my heart was constantly beating very loudly. So the fingers were very crossed.
Okay, lovely. And what was the response like when it hit the screens? Tell us all about the journey that you witnessed through the film.
Later, when the film completed and the screen showed a film by Devesh Nenani, and everyone clapped on the very first show. So that was the feeling that I thought I made something in life, and everyone was saying, "We are proud of you." The love and the compliments we got, it is beyond expression. But I cannot express that in words. But I'm grateful, I'm thankful to that.
Okay, Devesh, now you must tell us about any specific challenges you faced to the film you picked, the language you chose. I'm sure there were barriers you had to cross. Tell us all about it.
Okay, so if you would notice, the other languages, the people from the other languages have their own states. They have a wide audience, and they are concentrated at some places. Like Gujaratis stay in Gujarat, Maharashtrians stay in Maharashtra. They have got their own place and whole state of their own. But Sindhis are spread worldwide. So the very first difficulty was to build a channel. We didn't had a channel where we will showcase, because Ulhasnagar is also very limited. There are a town. It's a town. It's not a state. So a producer cannot bet on a few people only. So that was the biggest challenge. Like if we make a film, if any producer invests money, if he or she maybe put lots of lakhs or crores in the film, the recovery was always a big challenge. First, that was the challenge. Chalo, someone came and made the film. Like, yes, I'll make a film. But then, because because of the minority, we were facing caste issues. Like people were good, but then they were not knowing the Sindhi language. So that came as a big challenge again. Then in music, we faced lots of issue while writing the lyrics, because Sindhi language is, no, I won't say it is dying, but then it is challenge. It's a big challenge to find people who speak Sindhi, write Sindhi. So that's where we found much difficulties.
Okay, now you've also collaborated, Devesh, in the past with big celebrities, Ayushmann Khurrana. The list is endless. So tell us about how that experience was. Any different? How different was it compared to this young cast in the film? What was the difference that you witnessed on set, for instance?
Somewhere I felt superior. So that's where I enjoyed with them. But then, yeah, coming back to this, they are stars. Okay, so they won't give me much time, and they are high professionals, and also they might not give a retake. They might not cooperate in few things. But then there comes Sindhi young cast who are very passionate, very excited, and they want to prove themselves. So yeah, the energy I got from them is very nice, very, very nice.
Okay, lovely. Devesh, tell us now about your Sindhi roots and how you were trying to bring that in the film, but at the same time you were also catering to a modern audience. How did you strike that balance? How did you keep both of these aspects in mind?
See, I am a 1997 born, so I come under Gen Zs. So I don't want to call myself a Gen Z, to be honest. I want to be into that 90s kid. But then, so I wanted to show Sindhi films in a very cool form. So basically, new generation and people, they wanted to be represented as cool. Like, for example, Aryan Khan directed his first show, The Bads of Bollywood. So it's represented in a very cool way. And, people love that. And cinema is all about that, showing cool. Like, everyone wants to be the hero. So I wanted to show that in Sindhi, and that's where we were able to reach the major audience.
Okay, lovely. Devesh, now you've spoken so much of how your childhood, growing up in Ulhasnagar, has shaped you as a person, and most importantly has given you vision for the kind of cinema you're doing. So tell us about that journey from Ulhasnagar to being a filmmaker and finally making Sindhi films. How did it all happen? How did your dreams turn into reality?
Okay, so basically my dad runs a kirana store, and I have been involved there since my childhood, because my father always says ki ghar pe mat baitho, do something, either come to a shop or learn something. So bachpan mein we didn't had any sources to go, so I was sitting with my dad only bachpan se. So dheere dheere I keep observing people, their trades and everything, and later on I entered into mass media. That's where I learned editing, and I didn't, to be honest, for a parent, it's always a question that is this field reliable?
Yeah.
So, and that was my question as well, and their question as well. But then, I had to do it. So I started learning from YouTube. And YouTube pe I learned editing, YouTube pe I learned how to operate a camera, and basically I learned the whole filming on YouTube. And I practiced it with several YouTubers and then influencers, and then I worked with several media houses. That's where I learned the whole filmmaking part by part from many different mentors. So after gaining the confidence in me, I thought I wanted to make a film, and that's how a filmmaker came into existence.
You literally put your heart and soul into filmmaking, Devesh. Lovely. Devesh, today though, regional and cultural films are also finding a global voice through OTT platforms. How do you imagine Sindhi cinema evolving in this digital space? And do you see yourself as one of its torchbearers?
I'll be grateful if I'll be the one to take it to the OTT platform. But yeah, we have to commit business there, and there are a lot other aspects where OTT to come into the criteria of OTT. But yeah, we are working on it day and night. We are looking forward to make our film live on any good OTT platform where every Sindhi should feel proud that yes, we are proud that our film is also on OTT.
Okay, Devesh, and lastly, before we let you go, do you see big stars doing Sindhi cinema anytime soon? And if yes, who do you want to work with? So as a collaborator, as a director, who are the people on your list?
I wanted to work with Sir Rajkumar Irani. I wanted to know his vision towards the Sindhi cinema as well. I would want him to direct a film as well. And yes, if you are asking about me, if I as a director, I wanted to work with Ranveer Singh. Reason being, he is a Sindhi, and he can represent the culture very well. One is Ranveer Singh and one is Akshay Kumar sir. So they are the people whom every Sindhi is looking at. Every Sindhi wants कि ये दोनों एक बार screen पे दिख जाएं साथ में.
That would be a very interesting combo.
Devesh Nanani can be the director.
Okay, lovely. May all your wishes and dreams come true, Devesh. Thank you so much for sparing the time and speaking to us here on the Breakfast Club. All the way best. All right, with that, we shift our attention to the Overdrive verdict. The Mahindra Thar's been India's off-road poster child for years now. Rugged, loud, unapologetically old school. But as the segment matures, even legends need a tune-up. Overdrive took the updated Thar 3 door to Mahindra's own off-road academy to see if its bite still matches the bark and if these subtle updates are enough to keep it ahead of the pack. Let's get you this Overdrive verdict. Take a look.
Now, climbing this might seem like a piece of cake for me. No, but there's a car for which it is a piece of cake. Say hi to the redefined Thar. The Thar isn't new as such, and the reason to come here and drive the Thar through the off-road course was to see how far the Thar has evolved, and to be honest, the performance remains as it is. Classic Thar, no changes on that front, but there are certain upgrades for sure. These upgrades are essentially cosmetic and feature-bound. How useful are they? What are they? Let's find out. Now, as I sit here on the rocks, not with the rocks, I'm with the redefined new Thar. The essential thing that comes to mind is what are the changes? What is new? To me, the first thing that comes is that the grille was black, is now body colored. But the important thing about the Thar is its capability, its soul, its heart, and that remains unchanged. The engines are the same, the internal workings are the same. Few things here and there from the rocks, we'll talk about that. But for starters, when you have a Thar with you and you are on an off-road course, you ought to have some fun, and I will not waste any more time. I'll get along with it. The Thar's off-roading capability is true. There are no questions asked. The internal dynamics remain the same with the 3-engine and 2 transmission options. And for a first-timer at the Mahindra Off-Road Academy, for me the courses were a big revelation, and so was the Thar. It did reveal itself on the off-roading capabilities as I went from one ditch to the other with sharp inclines and declines and tough articulations. The 41.8 degree approach angle with up to 600 mm of water wading capacity meant I could go all out. And did I? the redefined Thar, not much has changed. You can have all the fun that you can in a Thar on this one, of course. And there have been few upgrades here and there. So apart from a few, very few cosmetic changes on the exterior, the interior has gone quite a little bit of an overhaul, if I'm not overstating it. But yeah, there are a lot of inspirations and direct take-ups from the Thar rocks. Like the all-black interior is new, your center console over here is new with this large screen and this new steering wheel as well. Now, as many faces as I'm making, the Thar doesn't fail. The soul and the heart, as I said, remains intact. The off-roading capabilities remain intact. And as the Thar never fails on this one, we had a lot of fun on this off-road driving course, as I am having right now. Now, the camera isn't shaking, the entire car is. This step of upgrading the Thar is presumably Mahindra acting on genuine concerns and feedback. Hence, the cabin is the main talking point here. The all-black interior remains the safe choice considering previous issues with the white on the rocks. The cabin gets additions and upgrades from the rocks as well, with a new dash, 26cm touchscreen that shows you the adventure statistics and the rear view camera display. A new steering wheel with integrated buttons and, most importantly, grab handles on the A-pillar. Also, now you get window controls on the door instead of the center console. The rear windshield gets a wiper and washer along with a rear view camera, and also a button allows you to open the fuel lid from the inside. Not to forget, there is a rear AC vent now. Not huge, but necessary updates make its way for the Thar to be prospective for the ones who want an off-roader but are thinking again due to the frugality of the cabin. Now that has been worked upon. As I said before, the heart and soul of the Thar remains the same. It does. The capability has not even faltered for a second. We are on an off-road trail full on with undulations, ditches, mud trails, water trails, rocks, everything. And we have 5 people inside this car and no issues at all. Apart from a few jerks, but that's part of the job. So that's that. It is safe to say that Mahindra did hear the issues about the original Thar and have addressed all of those issues, and this, the redefined Thar, is the answer for that. And also it is safe to say that now you have official bragging rights over your friends who probably chose the rocks over this one. Of course, apart from the off-roading bit.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
In the Women's Cricket World Cup.
Joining us now is the woman of the moment, the player of the final of the 2025 ICC Women's World Cup and truly Destiny's Child. Shefali Verma is joining us. Shefali, thanks a lot for your time. Let me begin by asking you, how does it feel to be a world champion?
Absolutely, happiest moment for all of us.
But this is truly destiny for you because आप ये World Cup squad का part भी नहीं थे, आपको semi-final से पहले squad में add किया गया और फिर आप final में player of the match रहे. तो एक तरह से ये जो पूरा एक आपका जो fate था, जो destiny है, वो पूरी हुई.
Yes, thanks to God मुझे उन्होंने यहाँ भेजा and thanks to all of them, my family member, everyone, JSW, एंड जिसने भी सपोर्ट किया इस मूवमेंट में, क्योंकि मेरा फ्रेंड सर्कल इतना अच्छा है, उन्होंने मेरे को इतना सपोर्ट दिखाया. आई थिंक वो सपोर्ट एंड भगवान ने मुझे यहाँ भेजा, एंड देन टीममेट्स ने बहुत अच्छा सपोर्ट किया. दे आर वेरी वेलकमिंग, दे आर वेरी सपोर्टिव. तो आई थिंक सबकी वजह से.
Welcome back. The Boston Global Forum and the AI World Society have conferred the 2025 World Leader for Peace and Security Award upon Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar, recognizing his extraordinary contributions to global peace building, reconciliation and humanitarian leadership. The award ceremony was held at Harvard University in the presence of luminary scientists and select dignitaries. Last year, the award was presented